Princess Elaryn asked for a teacher because the throne was coming faster than childhood could leave. Her father was dead, her uncles were circling, northern houses were sharpening marriage contracts into chains. And every instructor in the Imperial Academy taught her how to bow, smile, negotiate, and die beautifully. So she sent one private request beyond the Empire. Not for a court tutor, not for another scholar with scented gloves, but for someone who could teach her how to survive power. Earth answered with a name that made generals sit straighter. Tomas Vale, the human who had trained kings to fight. He arrived without trumpets, wearing a worn gray coat, carrying no banner except a plain training blade wrapped in cloth. The palace expected a young champion with muscles and arrogance, but Tomas was 68, lean as wire. Hands steady enough to shame machines. Lord Sarek laughed first, saying Earth must be running out of warriors if it sent a retired schoolmaster. Tomas looked at him and said, I trained 3 kings, 2 rebels, and 1 farmer who beat an empire. I can manage a princess if she stops posing. That was the first insult Elaryn had ever heard that sounded like rescue. She hated him by noon. Tomas removed her jeweled armor, replaced it with plain cloth, threw away her ceremonial blade, and made her stand barefoot on cold stone. Your tutors taught you to look like command. He said, I will teach you what command costs. She told him no one spoke to royal blood that way. He tossed a wooden blade at her feet and answered, royal blood stains floors like any other. Pick it up. The first lesson lasted 6 minutes. Elaryn lunged, slipped, fell, rose furious, fell again, and heard nobles laughing from the balcony. Tomas did not comfort her. He only said, good. The ground has introduced itself. Now stop treating it like an enemy. By evening, her knees ached. Her pride hurt worse. And Tomas had taught her nothing graceful. Only how to breathe after panic. Keep one hand free. Watch shoulders instead of eyes. The second lesson came in the market. Where princesses were not supposed to go, Tomas dressed her as a clerk and took her through the lower city, where engines coughed smoke and children chased drones between ration lines. Elaryn complained this was not combat training. Tomas stopped beside a woman arguing over bread prices and said, every ruler who cannot read hunger is already surrounded. He made her listen to dock workers, medics, debt soldiers, mothers with missing sons. By sunset, she knew more about her empire than 12 years of briefings had given her, because briefings had numbers and streets had faces. When assassins struck 2 nights later, Elaryn understood why Tomas trained outside tradition. They came during a banquet, 5 masked fighters hidden among musicians. Their first move was to cut the lights and rush the royal chair. But Elaryn was not there. Tomas had refused the chair because it had 1 exit. She was standing near the servant arch, exactly where he had placed her when the first blade flashed. She remembered shoulders, not eyes, and stepped aside before fear could freeze her. That was the second truth. A teacher does not save you by standing in front forever. He saves you by making sure you can move when he cannot. Tomas entered the dark like he had written it, his wooden practice blade cracking wrists, blocking knees, driving attackers into tables and pillars without wasted cruelty. Elaryn wanted to run, but saw a kitchen boy trapped under a fallen screen. So she did what Tomas had forced into her bones. Breathe, step, choose. She crossed the chaos, pulled the child free, and used a serving tray as a shield when an assassin turned toward her. The blow rang through her arms. But she stayed upright. Tomas saw it and smiled. Not proudly, not gently, but as if a locked door had opened. Lord Sarek revealed himself before midnight, surrounded by loyal guard officers. Accusing Earth of staging the attack to seize influence over the throne, he demanded Tomas be arrested, and the court, hungry for simple lies, almost believed him. Then Elaryn stepped forward. No jewels, no mask, 1 sleeve torn, serving tray dented in her hand, and said if Earth wanted influence, it would have sent a flatterer. It sent me a teacher. Because someone here wanted me decorative and dead, the room changed, slowly, dangerously. Sarek drew his blade and invoked the ancient challenge. Royal competency by arms, a cruel law meant to humiliate heirs. Elaryn's council gasped. Tomas moved toward her, but she lifted one hand. "No," she said. "You taught kings. Now watch one learn." The words surprised even her. Sarek laughed. Confident in years of dueling schools and poisoned victories? But Elaryn did not fight like the academy girls he expected. She fought like cold stones servant arches, market hunger, and 6 minutes of falling until shame stopped mattering. He attacked beautifully. She survived practically. Sarek spun. She stepped into the ugly angle. He feinted. She watched the shoulder. He drove her back. She used the fallen screen. The table edge, the slick floor, everything Tomas had taught her power ignored. When Sarek overreached, she struck his wrist with the tray, kicked his knee from the side, and placed her training blade beneath his throat. The court went silent, not because she had defeated a lord, but because she had become impossible to arrange. That was the final lesson. Rulers are safest when enemies mistake them for ornaments. At dawn, Princess Elaryn stood before the Empire and named Sarek's conspiracy. But she did not crown herself with revenge. She opened lower city hearings, promoted guards from debt service, rebuilt the academy so heirs trained beside medics, engineers, and soldiers, and kept Tomas as first instructor. Not at court, but in the yard, where he made princes and porters fall on the same cold stone. Years later, when Elaryn became queen, foreign envoys asked why her coronation sword was plain wood beside the golden crown. She said, "Gold taught me what people expected, what taught me what I could survive." And whenever a young heir complained that training was beneath them, Queen Elaryn would smile toward the old human watching from the shade and tell them the story of how an alien princess needed a teacher. And Earth sent the human who trained kings to fight, not to make her violent, but to make her free.